Welcome back, Brew Crew. I'm the Brew Captain. I'm a beer enthusiast, expert beer drinker, and I do challenges, how-tos, and reviews. And today, we're going to be reviewing Pauloner's Oktoberfest Marzen. So it's not October without Oktoberfest, and it's not Oktoberfest without beer. And it's not an Oktoberfest beer unless it's Marzen. But more specifically, it's not an Oktoberfest beer unless it's one of 6 beers from specific breweries. Pauloner is one of those breweries. So Pauloner is actually located in Munich, Germany. It was established in 1634 by the Minim Friars of the Neudeck Obderau Cloister. Of the Neudeck Obderau Cloister. Of the Neudeck Obderau Cloister. The Mendicant Order and the brewery are named after Francis of Paula, the founder of the order. And it's one of 6 breweries that can sell during Oktoberfest. So the name Pauloner actually refers to the order of the friars who, well, brewed the beer. They began brewing the beer for their own use in 1634. Whatever they didn't drink themselves, they sold, or they gave it away to the poor. Nothing says charity like giving beer to the poor. So the beer that was permitted to be sold on holidays was actually a Bock-style beer. Man, that's hard to say. A Bock-style beer. And when the Neudeck Order was abolished in 1799, they actually turned the building into a penitentiary. Franz Xavier Zackerl, the brewer, purchased the former Cloister Brewery and continued to make the Stark beer tradition with the product Salvator, which in Latin means savior. But we're not drinking that beer today. Today, we're drinking the Marzen. Now, Marzen is going to be associated with any kind of amber lager. So when you're talking about beer in Germany, it does have to follow the Reinheitsgebot laws. Just reading the back of this really quick, you have quality and heritage brewed with uncompromising standards that strictly adhere to the Reinheitsgebot, using only 4 ingredients: water, hops, yeast, and malt. That law started in 1516. So if you have any more than those 4 ingredients in Germany, you cannot legally call it a beer. If you're not one of the 6 Munich breweries, you can't call it an Oktoberfest beer. But Marzen is also associated with Oktoberfest. So anytime you see Oktoberfest Marzen, it's an Oktoberfest beer. So I'm excited to crack this open and see what we got. So this is straight from Munich, Germany. And we're looking at 5.8% alcohol content. Now, Marzens actually are going to have a little bit higher of an alcohol content typically. Marzen typically refers to the strength, not the color, because you do have Vienna-style lagers, which are also going to be amber in color, but they're going to be less of an alcohol content, typically less than the 5.5. Marzens are going to be 5 up, so 5.8, we're looking at a Marzen. Let's go and pour it and see what we got. Ooh, yeah. Nice amber color. Now, once again, Bavaria, which is what Germany used to be known as, was really famous for their dark lagers and dark beers. So Marzens is when it started getting to the amber. In the past, they were a lot darker than this. As history moved on, they became lighter in color. And so let's just take a look. Ooh, yeah. So this one is a little bit darker. I believe it is filtered. However, when taking a look at it through the light, it does kind of have a little bit of a haze to it. You know, it's not as clear as some of the other, Marzens we've done on the channel here. But still, you have that great, carbonation. You can see the bubbles coming up. I refer to it a lot as the champagne bubbles. But typically that's going to be really, really good. You got a little bit of a head on here. Probably could have done a little bit better of a pour. But, that's really going to give us some good aromas. So I'm interested to see what this smells and tastes like. Ooh, this one's interesting. So most of the other Marzens and Oktoberfest beers I've had have a real yeasty smell to them. I've referred to it as smells like baking bread, or when you're making bread from scratch. Sweet rolls I've also referred to it as. This one, it's kind of a socky smell. Now, when I'm saying sock, I mean it does have that yeast smell, but it kind of smells like dirty socks, almost like a like BO. And it all this is interesting. It smells like rotten fruit. So if you've ever had fruit trees, I had a house that had a lot of fruit trees. We had satsumas and grapefruits and kumquats and Japanese plums, and it falls to the ground. Well, if you don't harvest and collect the fruit, it rots and your yard will smell. I didn't know that when I first moved there, so this smell kind of reminds me a lot of that. It's a very, very pungent, almost a rotten smell to it. Interesting. A lot heavier than the other Marzens I've had. It's kind of woody. It's got a woody taste to it. You know, a lot of tastes and flavors you can associate with aromas. You know, aromas are a big factor in our sense of taste. You know, that's why when you're eating something that's bad, people say plug your nose and just, you know, gulp it down. It's almost like a prune. Or a date. Plum. One of those. It's like a prune, maybe a date, maybe a plum. A lot heavier than the other ones. It doesn't have that light sense. The last couple Marzens that I've had, I had one with Aang and I had one with Hacker Chore. It was very crisp. You know, when you drank it, it was a very crisp drink. You just wanted another one. You know, so it was really easy to drink quickly because as you drank it, you just constantly wanted more. This one, I want more, but I'm not getting that same, you know, thirst-quenching crispness to it. It's definitely, there's just so many flavors in this. That's amazing. You know, so it's pretty traditional too. So whenever you see Pauloner, you're going to see these women on here. So these are supposed to be like the women of Oktoberfest. Kind of like the beer maidens holding the mugs. So I mean, it's been around since 1634. This is a really good beer though. Definitely, like I said, kind of smells like rotten fruit. I do taste a fruit in there. A dark fruit. Not cherry. Definitely like a plum or a prune. Possibly a date. Doesn't quite have the sweetness of a date. And it's leaving my tongue very dry. It's pretty good though. You know, if you haven't had any Reinheitsgebot beers, I highly, highly recommend it. And if you, I almost forgot. If you're interested in learning more about beer, I strongly, strongly recommend getting the Beer Bible. So this is an amazing book. It's like $10 or $15. I'm going to leave a description down in the link below so you can check it out. But it's a great book. It tells you a ton of information. Pretty much anything you can think about beer is in this book right here. I love this book. It's my go-to. And it's just amazing information. Beer is really, really fun. I love the flavors. I love the fellowship. And this book just really helps you learn more about all that. I don't know if I would say this is one of my favorites. It's a good beer. There's no doubt that this is an amazingly made beer. It's just not quite my flavor and taste. I don't like plums or prunes, so I do like dates. I like dried dates, but it definitely has that plumminess or pruniness. And like I said, and it's kind of woody. The smell, God, the smell just smells rotten though. It's either dirty socks or... Well, my camera died, but I don't want you to miss out on this great beer. As far as beers go, not my favorite. I'm not that big plum person. And, you know, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you learned something from this video. Sorry you missed me chugging the beer. And I'll chat you next time. Check out the videos popping up on the screen. Stay savvy.